Full committee, my colleague from Florida, Representative John Mica.
Gentleman's recognized.
Well, thank you for yielding, and I'm pleased to rise actually in support of this legislation, which would provide a 3-month extension for the operations of the Federal Aviation Administration. This is kind of interesting, and I think just for the record, Madam Speaker, and also for the benefit of our colleagues who may be listening or their staff trying to figure out what's going on, Madam Speaker, this is, in fact, the 12th extension of the FAA reauthorization. I was the chairman back in 2001 and through the next 6 years, and you know, my leadership, I think, is looking better and better every week now and every month now. I introduced the current bill that's been extended. Today will be the 12th time, May 15th in 2003. It actually was agreed to in conference on November 21st, 2003, and it was signed by the President on December 12th, 2003. So I got it done in 6 months. Not record speed, but pretty good speed. My bill has been in effect for, 7 years, I think the longest FAA authorization in history. Quite proud of it. But in fact, even my legislation does need improvement. We do need an update in policy for running the FAA. We do need definition and delineation of projects which are authorized, including the important next generation, getting the best technical equipment, going from a ground-based system to satellites, and getting better utilization out of our airspace, and also using less fuel and more efficient utilization of our important airports. But again, I think it's incredible that we are on the 12th extension with the passage of this, but it must be done. The other body continues to belabor this particular bill. We're hoping for the best and that it does come out, and that we do have new language for the country and for the operation of our Federal Aviation Administration. What's sad, too, is, again, I think if you look at the 3 years that the other side has controlled this chamber, and this was pointed out again in a meeting that we had with some of the former TSA administrators, the turnover in personnel, not only in TSA and failure to replace the Transportation Security Administration leader, but also in FAA. We had seen turnover in the FAA administrator's position. When I came to Congress some 18 years ago, we reached a bipartisan accord and agreement to have a 5-year appointment of an FAA administrator, and that would transcend a presidential term. We had 2 great administrators, one appointed by President Clinton, served for 5 years, Jane Garvey, and then we had one appointed by President Bush for 5 years. That was Marion Blakey, and she did an outstanding job. And then what did we have? We had a period for an acting administrator, and the other side held him up, demeaned him while he served in the positions. We had a vacancy with an FAA administrator for over a year, and we didn't adhere to the bipartisan agreement to keep FAA out of politics and keep it with sound, continuous administration. So I'm disappointed in that fact. Then, again, Madam Speaker, and for those members that are listening, people are wondering what we're doing here on adjusting the jobs bill that just passed the Senate, I'm told, today. In that bill, as you may recall, and I offered this particular exhibit to the record, which showed that with the extension through the end of December, the other body, in fact, denied 22 states payment and gave 58% of payment for one of our largest portions and designations of funding to 4 states. One was, of course, California. Another one was Illinois, surprise, state of Washington, another surprise, and then a Louisiana purchase at the end. But Mr. Oberstar, I will say, I have to compliment him. He did get an agreement, and he got the correction in this legislation, so it's something we can all vote for. We can now equitably distribute the money to all 50 states. There was a proposal to give it to the Secretary of Transportation. Now, I've been there and done that with the Secretary. I didn't like that proposal because just several weeks before this fiasco took place, we distributed $1.5 billion worth of stimulus funds to our economically job-disadvantaged states. And my state of Florida, 7th in the nation, with now 12.8% unemployment. I'm sorry, 11.8% unemployment. They ended up getting 0 with discretionary money being distributed to, again, supposedly states that were hurting, and Florida's number 7 of the top 10 in unemployment. So I wasn't a big fan of having the Secretary distribute that money. I think what we've done here, which I suggested to the Chairman and to the other side, was a fair distribution, so everyone knows what the distribution formula is. Everyone will be treated equitably and fairly. So I'm pleased to support both the FAA extension and then the correction and proper distribution of highway trust funds. Now, this takes us only, folks, through December of this year. I know it's confusing because we're on a 30-day highway extension because we haven't done a highway and transportation major rewrite of the TLU legislation, but it will take us through the end of the year. That's somewhat good news, but it's also bad news because states cannot plan beyond the end of the year. That means that we can't get people working beyond the end of the year. That means we can't make commitments for improving our nation's infrastructure, and probably the biggest programs that we could do as far as this Congress and employing people. So I'm disappointed that the administration failed to support Mr. Oberstar, my chairman, on a 6-year authorization. At a time we needed to do it, they came in and recommended an 18-month, and what have we got here? We've got till December, and leaving everyone at bay, people without work, states not knowing what to do after the end of this year. So we have to do this. We have to get the extension as long as we can get it. Right now, the other side's saying till December. I'm disappointed in that. We have to straighten out the formula, and then we have to extend the FAA bill. And I'm so pleased that we're extending my FAA bill, which wasn't, I might say, in closing, a bad piece of work. Thank you. Yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman from Wisconsin.